with all due haste. Here to serve. I await your instructions.
So what would it be like to be a doorman for all eternity?
Blood for the blood god, paint for the sprue throne, espresso in my coffee cup.
Welcome back to the channel. So, in the grimdark future of the 41st millennium, there is only war, but there is also endless, mindless toil. So today, we're dissecting one of the most horrifying and strangely omnipresent creations in the entire Warhammer 40,000 universe, the Servitor. These half-human, half-machine drones are basically the silent backbone of the entire Imperium. You see them hauling ammo on the battlefield, repairing titans, mining asteroid belts, even holding umbrellas for remembrancers. So if you're new here, smash that subscribe button and the ring bell. Hit the thumbs up for more 3D printing and painting content. So this little fella I found on Maker's World. So we sent him to my A1 Mini using the Fat Dragon print profile. I will leave a link in the description down below for it. And while the supports are still a little chunky using Bambu Studio's support settings, they generally come off pretty well given some patience. For this model, I decided to mix it up a little bit, figuratively and literally speaking. I took paints from the 3 different brands that I have on the shelf. I used Wraithbone and Balthasar Gold from Citadel, Dark Gunmetal and White from the Squidmar Vallejo sets, and Fiery Vermilion and Voodoo Shade from the John Blanche set. Alright, so we are going to get this bad boy all covered in the Wraithbone. We need to make the skulls look like skulls. So just a layer consistency, all the little bits. I'm not concerned if I spill any on any of the other areas because it's all base coating, and I don't have to worry about it quite yet. First things first, for those out there that don't know, a servitor is basically a lobotomized cyborg slave. They fuse flesh with machine, programmed for one or a handful of simple tasks. They are not true artificial intelligence because humanity already had its Skynet moment back in the dark age of technology. So during that time, humanity's men of iron rebelled and nearly wiped everyone out. So instead, they're the perfect workaround. They're mindless, tireless, and endlessly replaceable. Higher brain functions? Gone. Personality? Erased. All that remains is a meat puppet controlled by binary prayers to the Omnissiah. All right, so we are going to bring in the Fiery Vermilion here to deal with the eye socket. I am going to try and give it a little bit of a glow effect, so let's see how that turns out later on. I'm also going to be coating all of the silvery bits from the hose coming out of his nose and the little nubbin here in his nose. There are the rest of the mechanical stuff in the eyeball. They can speak, barely, usually in flat monotone bursts with like compliance or systems normal come through like a Vox box. So they're created by the biologists and the tech priests of the Forge Worlds. They replace the forbidden thinking machines with machines that don't think. Most of them just start off as a vat of clones that are grown. Others, they're criminals, heretics, or they could be an unlucky soul that are tied from the Imperial world. The Imperium literally pays its flesh ties to the Mechanicus. And so we are now pulling out the Balthasar Gold to take care of all these little connector bits on the nose tube, as well as the bolts in his skull here. Because you got to have gold to have a good connection to the machine spirit. Also, these were a little more fiddly than I wanted because I didn't want to base coat them and then have to touch up anything because I knew the silver was just it was not gonna work. Those that simply offend the machine god are sentenced to servitude, eternal unending labor. These blank slates are then reprogrammed for one job generally. Servitors generally do one task, but there are multitask variants, and they're actually able to keep a sliver of skill. All right, so it's time to get this wash done with the Voodoo Shade from the War Paint set. We got to make it look like it's been there for a minute because, well, it's probably been there a few thousand years. We're going to bring back the fiery vermilion to brighten up about 2/3 of the center of the eye to try and get ready for this, the attempt at a glow. So we're going to use a little bit of this blue-green here to try and give these bolts a little bit of a tarnished look to age them a little bit more now that everything has been washed down. It's not all punishment, so even failed Space Marine aspirants whose bodies either reject gene seed or are injured beyond repair are turned into chapter servitors. The Cult Mechanicus calls it redemption by sacrificing your will to achieve salvation in the machine god's embrace. Most of us just call it hell. I didn't get the white on camera. I don't know why I didn't record, but we're again going back over it with the fiery vermilion to try and give the illusion that there's a little bit of a glow coming from his eye. I think it came out pretty good. I'm actually pretty impressed with how this guy came out overall. I used paints from different sets and different styles, so I think it came out good. Let's check it out.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Initializing build protocol.
They're the ultimate cheap and loyal workforce. What do you think? Is servitude in perpetuitus the worst fate in 40K or the ultimate honor? Drop your answers down in the comments. Remember, the Emperor protects, but the machine god demands flesh. And I'll see you guys in the next one.